ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ
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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ
ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਨਾ ਨਾਹਿਨ ਨਿਰਮਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਕੈ ਅੰਚਲ ਲਾਵਹੁ ਬਿਖਮ ਨਦੀ ਜਾਏ ਤਰਣੀ ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਸਾਰ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਤੇਰੇ ਜੋਰ ਮੈਂ ਗੂੰਗਾ ਕਹਤਾ ਹੂੰ ਤੇਰਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਰਨ
ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਆਸਣ ਲੋਏ ਲੋਏ ਭੰਡਾਰ ਜੋ ਕਿਛ ਪਾਇਆ ਸੋ ਏਕਾ ਵਾਰ ਕਰ ਕਰ ਵੇਖੈ ਸਿਰਜਣਹਾਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੱਚੇ ਕੀ ਸਾਚੀ ਕਾਰ ਆਦੇਸ ਤਿਸੈ ਆਦੇਸ ਆਦ ਅਨੀਲ ਅਨਾਦ ਅਨਾਹਤ ਜੁਗ ਜੁਗ ਏਕੋ ਵੇਸ ਆਸਨ ਲੋਏ ਲੋਏ ਭੰਡਾਰ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਪਤਿਤ ਪਾਵਨ ਭਗਤ ਵਤਸਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇ ਖਜ਼ਾਨੇ ਜੋਤ ਰੂਪ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਸਾਜੀ ਨਿਵਾਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ। We're blessed again to be gathered to continue learning the teachings from Sri Japji Sahib, the first Bani of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the first Bani of the Gursikhs Nitnem, the first Bani or the Bani of the first Guru Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, the Bani which teaches us and gives us the blessings of Brahm Gyan, the true knowledge of Brahm Akal Purkh Vaheguru, the Lord God, who is the giver, the organizer, and the deliverer of ourselves into themselves. Sri Japji Sahib, the discussion with the Siddhs, the discussions with the Siddhs has reached a point where the Siddhs are trying to impress on Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji their way, the Siddh way, the yogic way. They're describing their practices, they're trying to sell their practices to Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. They're describing the way they look, they're showing what they do. They are talking about the pandal, the store, the ownership of all the belongings of all the Siddhs. They are trying to give that to Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. They're trying to make Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji their leading preacher to preach their way in the world. The young Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji has impressed them, because to them Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji is very spiritual, is a good speaker, a good preacher. They believe if Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji follows their ways and begins to preach their way, the whole world will become Siddhs and follow the Siddh way. Little do they know that Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji is the embodiment, the first form of Akal Purkh Vaheguru to come to this earth to save their own creation, to save humanity, to save all the creation and help them break free from the 8.4 million lives, so they can burn away all their karam that they've collected, and so they can break free and become one with Vaheguru, the Nirgun form, the formless Nirankar of Dhan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, Akal Purkh Vaheguru. In the previous three Paudiyaan, the Siddhs, as I've just explained, are trying to impress and sell the way of the Siddhs to Guru Sahib Ji. The Guru Sahib Ji has continually explained, using their way as an example of what the Siddhs should actually be like and what their way should actually be. How they should have good qualities, and actually carrying sticks, begging, having a begging bowl, having a store of all their food, and how they work. Guru Sahib Ji has used those and showed the Siddhs that they should have good qualities, and it's by good actions that they will develop these good qualities, and the good actions and the good qualities will help burn their karam and help them break free from the 8.4 million lives. Guru Sahib Ji is in fact blessing them, helping them break free from the 8.4 million lives, just as they are blessing us to be here in the sanctuary of the Guru Kar, so we can learn, so we can take these teachings and we can break free from this life cycle, so we can be one with Vaheguru. In this last body of this collection, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji continues explaining to the Siddhs the way to break free.
Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji Asana Loe Loe Pandar.
So the Siddhs who are believers of Shivji, because the Siddhs Guru Gorakhnath and his Guru Mashindranath is supposed to be from the lineage of Shivji. So their line links to Shivji, Shiva. And they believe all is in the power of Shiva. But Guru Sahib Ji has already explained in the previous week, Eka Mai Jugat Vyai Ten Chele Parvan. So these Chele, this order of one translation of that was Brahma, Vishnu and Shivji. Those, that work that they do in terms of creating, looking after and destroying, that destroying factor that Shivji's duty is, that is under the command of Vaheguru. But they continue and they are explaining to Guru Sahib Ji, Asan. Asan means throne or the seat of the all-powerful. Where is that seat? Where is that seat of Vaheguru? Where does God reside? they're explaining that Shivji resides in what they call Shivlok, the place or the world of Shiva, where he is the master of. That's what they're describing to Guru Sahib Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. And at the same time, where they reside, or where Guru Sahib Ji met them on many occasions, one was on a mountain called Sumer. Sumer Parbat, as it's known, Parbat meaning mountain, Sumer the name of that mountain. And many Siddhs have done their contemplation on that mountain over many ages. And Guru Sahib Ji actually went there to meet these Siddhs, to bless them as they were on their travels. And Gorakhnath, their Guru, spent all his time on that mountain, away from the world. So they're asking Guru Sahib Ji, this Sumer Parbat is the seat of their Guru, obviously, Gorakhnath. And Shivlok, the realm of Shiva, is the throne of Shivji. You're saying Vaheguru, God, is all powerful. Akal Purkh Vaheguru is the creator, is the organizer, and is the destroyer. You're saying, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, that everything is in the command of Vaheguru. So where is his throne? Where is his seat? And Guru Sahib Ji replies, Asan, that throne, that seat of power, Loe, Loe, Pandar. So Loe means Lok. Loe, Loe means not just in this realm, not just in this world, but in every world. In every part of his creation is the seat of Vaheguru. How can the seat of Vaheguru be in every part of his creation? Well, Vaheguru, as Akal Purkh Vaheguru, has created everything. We know Vaheguru is what we call omnipresent. Vaheguru is present in every part, in every molecule, in every particle of his creation. So his seat is in every world. Loy, Loy, Log. If we translate that to mean Log, Log translates to mean world or realm or area, depending on how you want to take it, or even further still, any particle. The seat of Vaheguru is everywhere, because Vaheguru resides everywhere. Vaheguru is omnipresent. They reside in every particle of their creation. Even those particles that are non-particles, like ether. One of those particles that's a non-particle is nothingness. Vaheguru resides everywhere. Asan, Loe, Loe. And then Pandar, that place where the Siddh's Pandar is the collection of things. Your collection, the store, if you will. And the Siddhs, like we've described, they would go begging with their begging bowl, they would collect food, they would collect whatever, and they would store it in their store. And then we've heard in the previous Paudiya, the Pandaran would distribute the food to the Siddhs when they needed it. So where is the store of Vaheguru? Pandar. What is the store of Vaheguru? So where's the seat? Where is the store? That seat, like we said, and that store is in every particle. Because within each person is the storage of Vaheguru's qualities, Vaheguru's characteristics, the Sargun Sarup. Because they say that Vaheguru has set up this creation, and within the creation, Vaheguru has set up its order, his order. The order of Karam and the coming of going of the 8.4 million lives. So, within every world, Vaheguru's throne is. Within every particle, every being, every bit of creation, Vaheguru exists. That is the true seat, that is the throne of the Lord.
So
that store, what you talk about. Now, obviously the Siddhs go begging and they collect, and every now and then they fill their store. But here, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji is explaining to the Siddhs, Jo ke Shapaya, whatever is put into that store, Jo ke Shapaya, so ekavar, it's been put in there once. Now, how does that work? Well, that order, that hukam, that command, the way the world works, the way creation works. We know when a person is created, that is not necessarily the first time that person was created. That person, that human, has been through the 8.4 million lives to reach the human form. And when that person comes, they come with what we call the paralabdha karam, those actions that have come, that have been put together for that life, that we have to face, whether they are positive or negative. Because as we complete actions, Kiryaman Karam, we're doing them, they are collected, Sanchit Karam, and as they're collected, and I've described in the past, if you imagine they're put into a bowl, and then from the bowl, Vaheguruji, if you want to imagine it in this way, takes a handful out and sends them with you to this life. And you have to face those actions, as I said, positive or negative, in this life. And then, when you're living the life, you're obviously adding more karams, and then more are being collected in that bowl because they're not all being taken out, and you continue in that cycle. And Vaheguruji, when he sends us into this world, due to our karam, everything is written, what we're going to face, what we're going to eat, what difficulties we're going to face, what positives we're going to face. It's already been written. There's a Gurbani Pankti which describes in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji that before a person is created, their life is written. So it is written what they will eat, what they will take, what they will be given before they are created, before they come into this world. So in other words, that paralabdha karam that's been taken out is already set up for a person when they're going to get food. So their store has already been completed. So Vaheguru doesn't constantly have to keep coming back to say, today I have to give this person this thing. Tomorrow, now what should I give him today? The third day, what should I give them today? They've done it once. Jogi Shapaya, what they've put into that store, those paralabdha karam that's come with a person, it's happened once. They've collected them together, sent them out with a person, and they've done it once because they're going to receive, and what's going to be taken from them has been sorted out once just before they come. So Vaheguru doesn't need necessarily a store or a begging bowl to go finding things to give that person their rewards of their karam. Jokish paya so ekavar. They have done it all once. They've sorted all that out. So Guru Sahib is explaining to the Siddhs that you Siddhs go with a begging bowl constantly. You don't know what's happening from day to day. But in Vaheguruji's hukam, everything's been sorted out once before a jeev, a creature, a human, or any part of the 8.4 million lives come into the world. It gets sorted out before they come. Vaheguru only has to sort that storage out once.
Kar kar vekha sirjanahar.
And kar kar vekha. Now we know what vekha means. Vekha means to see. Sirjanahar is the description of Vaheguru. The description of Vaheguru to do sirjana, to create, to look after. And kar kar. So why do we have kar and kar twice here? Well, the first kar is the description of Vaheguru to create, when God is giving life. And the second kar is when God is organizing life. Kar kar vekhe sirjanhar. Because Vaheguruji, Jogish paya so ekavar, they've collected all those actions, or they've collected that, as I've described, a handful of actions that are going to come with you in this life. They have been sent with you, and then Vaheguruji creates or gives you his life, gives you that life, kar, the first kar. Then, as that life is given, then God, Vaheguru Akal Purkh, is organizing that life, the second kar. And Sirjanhar Akal Purkh Vaheguru Vekhe sees over that process and looks over that process as our life is organized, until such time, if we're blessed to find Gursikhi, if we're blessed to find Gursikhi, then we will be delivered. If we are not blessed to find Gursikhi, or we get caught up in this 8.4 million life cycle, then the slight different word is I would use is destroyed, because that life is destroyed for another one to be created. If we're delivered back into Vaheguru, so we become one. If we're destroyed, then this life is destroyed, it's finished, to be taken up into another life. So we're in that cycle. So that's the slight difference of the words I use to explain. Destroyed to talk about the 8.4 million lives delivered to become one with Vaheguru. So Vaheguru Sahib Ji kar kar vekha Sirjanhar Vaheguru oversees us in this world when they give us this life and when they organize this life.
ਨਾਨਕ ਸੱਚੇ ਕੀ ਸਾਚੀ ਕਾਰ
Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji continues explaining to the Siddhs, Nanak Sache ki Sachi Kar. Sache, the true Akal Purkh Vaheguru, who is the truth, is Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Hai Bhi Sach, Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach. They were true at the beginning. They were true at the start of the ages. They are true now and they will be true forevermore. And I say this constantly. Something which is true can only be true. Truthfulness is only true if it's infinite. If it's not infinitely true, then it must be false because one day it will finish, so it cannot be true forever. Only Akal Purkh Vaheguru really can be described as being true because they are infinite. They are true forever. This world, us, our life physically, is not true. It's true in the sense that we're here, but it's not infinitely true, so actually it becomes false. It is false. So Nanak Sache, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji is telling the Siddhs Sache, so they're describing Vaheguru as Sache, the truth. Sache ki Sachi Kar. Kar means their command, their order, their way. So the way of the true Lord is also true. Sachi Kar. Not just Kar, Sachi Kar. Nanak Sache ki Sachi Kar. So whatever the Vaheguru does, the true Vaheguru, their way is also true. It's also true. It's true to everybody. Let's take that a little bit further. It's true to everybody. How is it true to everybody? Because they treat everybody fairly. How do they treat everybody fairly? We can question, we look around the world and we sometimes have this question, or we question within our own lives. Why is that person got more than me? Why is this person a little bit more developed than me? Why am I behind? Why have I these problems in my life, physically or mentally? And we sometimes can blame God for this, that God hasn't blessed us. But this Pankti is telling us, Nanak Sache ki Sachi Kar. Their way is also true. It's fair. Why is it fair? Because it's actually not God who decides. It's actually us ourselves who decide. So they're treating everybody fairly because depending on our karam, on our actions that we do day to day, that is what decides what we get in this life. That is what decides what anybody gets in their life, whether they're a human, whether they're an animal, whether they're any part of the 8.4 million lives. Their own karam has decided what they will see in their life. Now, if we have a lot of mental tension or depression, it's no fault but our own due to some actions that we may have done in a previous life. The only way to eradicate that and to burn those actions that have been collected, or to negate the ones that we've brought with us in this life, the paralab, because they cannot be completely finished, they can be negated. The ones that are in that, let's say that bowl, they can be burnt away. The only way is to do seva or simran, to partake in naam japana. That is the only way we can negate any actions in this life that we have to face, or burn away any actions that are in that bowl that are being collected, ready to be given back to us in a future life. So that way is true. And why is it fair? Because if Vaheguru gave somebody something different that was not meant to be due to their karam, then it wouldn't be fair to anybody else. Because everybody else is getting what their karam, not just humans, like I said, animals as well. So Vaheguru's way is fair. Asakhi, in the time of Tan Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, the 7th Guru of the Sikhs, the 7th form of a Vaheguru, the 7th form of the Lord God, giving, organizing and delivering, the 7th form of Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, Tan Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, the 7th Guru of the Sikhs. And in his time, we've heard Sakhiyan in the past of a Gursikh named Bhai Rupaji. A name given by Roop Chand was a name given by Tan Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, the 6th Guru, to the child of a Bibi and a Gursikh who came into the sanctuary. We've heard the Sakhi a few weeks ago, where a Bibi is married off into the family of somebody who follows Sakhi Sarwar. Sakhi Sarwar was an Islamic sect of that time, but she was a Gursikh, but she ended up getting married off into that family. And as she came, as she was taken out from her wedding, as she was being taken to her village of her husband, she heard Asadiwar, and she got her dolli, as they call it, where she would be carried to Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, and her husband came, and as her husband saw the vision of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, he became a Gursikh, and they became Gursikhs of the Guru. And when they had a child, the child was brought to the sanctuary of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, and he was given the name Bhai Roop Chand, Bhai Rupa Ji as he is known. And there's a village in the south of Punjab named after Bhai Rupa Ji. It's called Bhai Rupa. And a lot of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji's clothes and their carriage, even where Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji used to sit, their carriage next to that was attached to their horses, even that is in that area. And Guru Sahib Ji's chole, karpanna, a lot of Guru Sahib Ji's things are there in and around that village. And Bhai Rupa Ji carried on into the times, because obviously he was only born in the time of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, so he carried on his life, spanned through the times, through to Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. And his family, his children were even with Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. When Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji was in Assam and in Patna Sahib, where Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji came to this world. Now, that's not the Sakhi. The Sakhi I'm about to tell you is from his area was a named Gursikh. He was named Bhai Kala Sidhu. That's what his name was, and he was a friend who respected Bhai Rupa Ji, Bhai Roop Chand. And Bhai Kala Ji had two nephews. His nephews were orphans. So Bhai Kala Ji's brother had passed away. And so Bhai Kala Ji used to look after his nephews. And one time, he took his nephews to the sanctuary of Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, the seventh Guru of the Sikhs. And he took his two nephews because he had two sons of his own. He had to look after them. And in India, even now, it's very difficult to look after your own family, and especially when you're poor, that you have to look after another family, more children. So he took them to the sanctuary of Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. Because he had faith, he thought to himself that if I take these two children, Guru Sahib Ji will bless them, will do something for them, because I cannot necessarily look after them fully. And he took them to the sanctuary of Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, the seventh Guru. And what he did namaskar, he matha teked, the children matha teked, the two nephews. And what he got the children to do was bang their stomachs and play a tune with their stomachs. You know, acting as like a drum, banging their own stomach. And they came without any clothes, or they just had their shorts on or something, and their stomach was showing, and they banged their stomach in front of Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. And Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji asked Bhai Kala Ji, what are these two children doing? Why are they banging their stomachs, making tunes? And Bhai Kala Ji said, these two are the sons of my brother. They are orphans. They are very, very poor. They're banging their stomachs because they are hungry. They've got no outlook in their life. And Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji said, and blessed those two children. Now Guru Sahib Ji blessed them in such a way that some historians say that Guru Sahib Ji sent two horses with them and said, wherever you take these horses, that area would one day come into their lineage. So their lineage would become rulers of an area of India, of a part in Punjab. Wherever these horses go, they drink water, they will rule over that land. Their Gribi will go. And while they stay in Gursikhi, while their lineage stays in Gursikhi, they will always be rulers of land. But when they go away from Gursikhi, then all that would be taken away from them. What actually happened was that those two children, if in Punjab we definitely have heard the city of Patiala, and we may have heard the city or the area of Nabha, which is near or towards Chandigarh. And those two brothers, as they were children, took those horses, and the horses went, one took to the area of Patiala and one to the area of Nabha. And their families became the rulers of those lands. Patiala and Nabha. And even to this day, we hear, if we look in history, Maharaja of Nabha and Maharaja of Patiala, those families continued. But when they lost Gursikhi, their lineages, they've lost that land. But at that time, they were blessed by Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, the seventh form of Vaheguru. Now, if we say, well, that was just a blessing, that's nothing to do with the karam. But then, when Bhai Kalaji went back home and told his wife, who initially forced Bhai Kalaji to take their nephews because she couldn't look after them, she thought, her eyes lit up and she thought, well, we've got two children as well, we've got two sons. Why don't you take our sons? And hopefully they can be blessed with land. And so they can rule over land, just like these two will be. And Bhai Kalaji took his own sons to Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. But at that point, Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji said, that blessing was only at that point, and that blessing was due to the karam, and because Nanak Sache Ki Sachi Kar, that these two children, it's not in their paralabdh, it's not in their actions that they will be granted that kind of boon. So for them, they were blessed in other ways, but the two nephews were blessed with their land. But again, it was due to their karam, due to their actions. And so Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji didn't go outside of that order, because they are the form of Vaheguru themselves. They are the giver, they are the organizer, and they are the deliverer. So Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji's example, and all the Gurus, there are many Sakhis where Nanak Sache Ki Sachi Kar, the way of the Lord, the way of the true Guru, themselves they are true, and their way is true because their way is fair due to the karams that we have all collected.
Asana loe loe pandar.
Now, how about a teaching for us to take away specifically, spiritually? Asan loe loe pandar. Where does God reside within us? Loe loe pandar. So if we take loe to mean light, that light of Vaheguru, that throne of Vaheguru, should it exist within our hearts. Loe, light. The second loe we can translate to be gyan, knowledge, because light is translated to be knowledge in Gurbani, gyan and knowledge. So the throne of Vaheguru resides in our heart. That light, that knowledge is within ourselves, that Vaheguru exists. Vaheguru is going to be the giver, is going to be the organizer and the deliverer. So from that knowledge and that light, that throne should be in our heart. And how should that throne work? How do we know it's in our heart? Because within our heart, we repeat the name of the Lord. We repeat the name of the Lord through Gur Mantar, Vaheguru, through Mool Mantar, as we recite at the start of every week, and through all of Gurbani, whether that's reciting part, or singing Kirtan, or even listening to Gurbani di Katha. That's how the Lord resides in our heart. And the Pandar, the storage, the store, what happens? What is that store? That store is the collection of what we call Shobhagun, good qualities, Sat, truthfulness, Santok, content, Daya, compassion, Dharam, faith, Tiraj, patience, Nimrata, humbleness. All those good qualities that we know and we talk about, and we can list hundreds of them, they actually become part of our store. We do store them. They are stored within inside our bodies. Because it's one thing just to say those good qualities. It's one thing to live within those good qualities. To have those as part of your day, part of your outlook, part of your life. So, Asan for us is that throne, that seat of Vaheguru should be within our hearts, because we're repeating the name of the Lord within our hearts, and then we will store within ourselves those good qualities, so we continue doing nishkam actions, actions without want for anything, and therefore we will be blessed and broken free from these 8.4 million life cycle.
Jo kish paya so eka var.
Jo kish paya so eka var. So Vaheguru Sahib Ji gives us that blessing once. How do they give us it once? Whatever they give us once. How do they give us it once? How can we be blessed to repeat that name of the Lord? Where do we get this Gur Mantra from? Where do we get this Mool Mantra from? We get this Gur Mantra and Mool Mantra from the Panj Pyare. The Panj Pyare that were created by Tan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji in 1699 at Sri Anandpur Sahib, where Guru Sahib Ji asked for a head of a Sikh, and Bhai Daya Singh, at that time known as Bhai Daya Ram, came, gave his head, gave his seas, just like the other Panj Pyare, to form the Panj Pyare, and then given that order to administer Khande Bhatte, the Amrit. And that is the way of the Khalsa, the way of the Gursikh, the way, the path of spirituality. So when you go to the Panj Pyare and you give your head, I mean, in some ways we only give our head spiritually now. We don't give it physically, just like the original Panj Pyare did. It's very easy now in some ways. And Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji gave their sarbans, they gave their family for Amrit. We don't necessarily give. What do we give? It's very easy now, physically. But spiritually, if we give our tan, man and tan, our body, tan, our man, mind, and our tan, our wealth, if we sacrifice that to the Guru, when we go to the Panj Pyare, they inside of us put Gur Mantar and Mool Mantar by making us recite it with the blessings of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, who is present, and by drinking the Amrit, the Khande Di Pahal, they have put everything inside of us once. We don't have to go to a Pakhandi, a dodgy place where we make other gurus, where they get to do different things, where they tie tagi around us, or where we get told to tie tagi around our necks or around our bodies, little strings. Or we don't have to go to Mathade, to gravestones. We don't have to bow down to gravestones. We don't have to bow down to certain animals like snakes and things like that, because we've been given everything once. We have bowed down to the Panj Pyare, Guru Roop, and Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And once we do that once in that ceremony, then we get given everything. We don't have to constantly worry. Bhi Guru Sahib ne kirpa nahi kiti. They haven't blessed us, because they bless us that once. And once we get given that blessing, we gain those qualities of Daya, Dharm, Himmat, Mohkam, to attain Sahib, to become masters. We get given everything once. How great is our Guru? We don't have to constantly ask. We do out of Nimrata, but really, once we partake in that ceremony, everything is given to us. Nothing is hidden. They don't hide anything back. They don't say, here, today you take one thing, Kal nu fair, and come back tomorrow, I'll give you something else. Like, that's what the people of the world do, who proclaim to be the Gurus, proclaim to be one with Vaheguru. Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji and the Panj Pyare give us everything, the different forms, everything in one go. And that's how Guru Sahib Ji gives the Gursikh everything. The only way to gain everything is from the Panj Pyare. When they give us Gur Mantar and Mool Mantar, it's put inside of us, and then we can repeat that name to make that place the throne in our hearts. We need to get and claim everything. This is the opportunity in this human life. We may not get this opportunity again. We may put this opportunity off for later in life. But if we put that opportunity off in later in life, we may lose this life, and we're back in the 8.4 million life cycle. This is the opportunity. We must pray to Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji that he blesses us to be allowed to go to that ceremony, so we can give our mind, body and wealth at the feet of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and the Panj Pyare will then give us Amrit, and we will be given everything. Jo kish paya so ek kavar. We'll be given everything once, and then all we have to do is repeat that name to become one with Vaheguru, because that seat will be made, that throne will be made within our hearts.
Kar kar vikha sirjanhar.
Kar kar vikha. So then how do we see Vaheguru? Because once we've partaken in that Amrit, kar kar, the two kars here, the first kar is to listen. So you repeat the name of the Lord to make that throne, and then you listen. You listen and believe, and then you act on the hukam. Kar kar vikha Sirjanhar, and then we will see the Sirjanhar. Because we'll become one with the Sirjanhar, we'll break free from the 8.4 million lives, and we'll become one with Vaheguru. So even after you've taken Amrit, you get given everything, that's not where you stop. You continue reciting the name. You continue and develop your listening, your believing, and then your following of the command and the order. So then you can become one with Vaheguru, and you will become one with Vaheguru, one with Sirjanhar, who is the giver, the organizer, and the deliverer of ourselves back into themselves.
Nanak Sache Ki Sachi
And then Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji is explaining to the Siddhs, and they are telling us today the way of the true Vaheguru, the true Lord. Nanak Sache Ki Sachi Kar, that way is the truth. The way of going through that path of giving yourself the opportunity to meet the Panch Pyare and partaking in that Amrit ceremony, that is the true way. That is the only way to break free of the 8.4 million lives in Kaljug, because that is the way that God came down from now. Since the time of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, that is the only way that we will be blessed through a true Guru, the true Guru, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and the Panch Pyare who administer that Amrit. So Nanak Sache Ki Sachi Kar, that way, the way of the true Lord is also true. There is no other way. We can't get this from anywhere else. The only way is the way of the Panch Pyare.
Ades Tisai Ades
Namaskara Ades. I bow down to you, true Lord, who is the giver, the organizer, and the deliverer. Tisai Ades. I bow down. Namaskara. I praise, I worship the Lord.
Adi Anil Anad Anahate Jug Jug Eko Ve.
I worship that Lord who is going to bless us with that opportunity of Amrit, so I can begin to listen. I can begin to believe, and I can begin to follow the hukam, so I can become one with the Lord and break free of the 8.4 million lives. And that Lord is Ad. He is the primal Lord, before absolutely everything. He is Anil. He's outside of Maya. He's outside of falseness. He has no black mark. He is Anad. He has no beginning himself. He is infinite because he has no end. Anahat. Nothing can finish him off. Jog Jog Eko Ves. He is one. He has one form, that true form, through all the ages and forevermore, and that is a Akal Purkh Vaheguru, and that is the teaching this week. And Guru Sahib Ji over these last few Paudiyas have explained to the Siddhs that your yogic way is not the way. The way for Gursikhi is Bhagat Yog, the way of Bhakti. And there are many steps to reach that Bhakti, and there are many steps to reach Vaheguru. And in the next few Paudiyas, Guru Sahib Ji is going to start explaining about those steps of spirituality and how do we become one with the Lord. How do we reach Sachkhand? What are those spiritual stages? What are those realms? And Guru Sahib Ji will now start explaining that to the Siddhs, because they've just explained to the Siddhs that your way is the way of Maya, the way of falseness, the way of the illusion. And Gursikhi is the way of the truth, the way of true spirituality. And Guru Sahib Ji is now going to continue that message over the next few Paudiyas of how can we develop, what are those stages like. If I've made any mistakes, which I'm sure I have this week, I beg for forgiveness. You, the Saad Sangat, can bless me with Brahm Gyan so I can continue understanding myself, first of all, the message of Sri Japji Sahib, and then I can share that message with you, the correct teachings of Sri Japji Sahib. I pray to the Lord God of Vaheguru, I pray to Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji that they bless us all with Gursikhi, all with Amrati Daat, all with those Shabguns, that we can all become one with Vaheguru in this life and feel that bliss, feel that Anand, experience that Anand, and break free from the 8.4 million lives. Guru Sahib Ji, I believe, will bless us all if we continue listening, believing, and following his teachings. Deho Sajanasi Shriya. जो होवे साहिब स्यो मेल आदेश तिसै आदेश आदि अनील अनाद अनाहत जुग जुग एको वेश वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।